Let me ask you something. What if you could live a life of pure, absolute pleasure and never have to see the consequences written on your face? Imagine if a piece of art, a painting, could take the hit for you, growing twisted and monstrous with every bad deed, while you stayed young and beautiful. Well, back in 1890, Oscar Wilde dropped a novel that totally scandalized society by asking just that. It's a terrifying question, really, about art, beauty, and the darkness that can hide in the human soul.
So right from the get-go, Oscar Wilde himself throws down this gauntlet. This is from the book's own preface. I mean, talk about a challenge. He's speaking directly to a society that thought every story needed to teach you a lesson. Wilde was like, nope. He argued that art's only job is to be beautiful, not to be good. And with that one idea, he sets the stage for a story that's going to push that concept to its absolute breaking point.
All right, so here's our game plan for unpacking this masterpiece. First, we'll dig into the philosophy that kicked this whole thing off. Then, we'll get to that central, fateful wish and all its terrible consequences. After that, we're going to decode the novel's key symbols, and we'll wrap up with the big, critical questions Wilde makes us all ask ourselves.
To really get the Picture of Dorian Gray, you have to understand the world it was born into, because it was pretty controversial. This wasn't just some story Wilde cooked up. It was basically a manifesto.
Okay, so Oscar Wilde was this brilliant, flamboyant superstar of what was called the aesthetic movement. And their core idea was, for the time, totally radical. It was simple, art for art's sake. You gotta remember, this was a huge rebellion against the super grim, stuffy, moral-obsessed Victorian era. These guys argued that chasing beauty was the highest goal in life, way more important than following some rigid, boring rules.
And this quote, it just nails their whole philosophy. For Wilde, art didn't need a point. It didn't need to teach you anything or make you a better person. A painting, a poem, it didn't have a job to do. It just had to be beautiful. And you have to hold on to that idea, because it is the absolute key that unlocks this entire novel.
All right, now let's see how this whole philosophy actually plays out in the story. We're going to meet three unforgettable characters who get caught right in the middle of this philosophical storm. So at the heart of the story, you've got this perfect and kind of dangerous trio. First, there's Basil Hallward. He's the passionate artist who just worships beauty. Then you have a subject, Dorian Gray, a young man so unbelievably beautiful he looks like he's straight out of a Greek myth. And then you've got the guy stirring the pot, Lord Henry Wotton. He's this cynical, charming aristocrat who basically sees Dorian's innocence as a blank slate for his own toxic ideas.
I mean, listen to that line. Lord Henry starts filling Dorian's head with these thrilling, dangerous ideas about living for pleasure. He argues that denying your impulses is a waste of a life. He whispers in Dorian's ear that you have to indulge every single desire to truly live. And Dorian, being young and impressionable, just eats it all up.
So picture this. Basil finishes his painting of Dorian and it's a masterpiece. But when Dorian sees it, he's hit with this awful realization. The person in the painting will be young forever, but he will get old and wrinkled and ugly. And in this moment of just pure panic, he makes this crazy, desperate wish, a real deal with the devil bargain, that he could trade places with the painting.
And just like that, the supernatural contract is signed. Dorian gets to keep his youth, his perfect face, his apparent innocence, on the outside at least. But in exchange, the portrait, which he hides away in a locked room, becomes the living record of his soul. It's going to absorb every ugly thought, every cruel act, every single sin he commits.
So, Dorian's wish comes true. He's now free to live a life with no visible consequences. But as he starts to really test the limits of this new freedom, he finds out it comes at a terrible and very hidden price.
His fall from grace is, well, it's horrifying, and it happens in stages. It starts with an act of pure emotional cruelty that leads a young actress to kill herself. From there, he just dives headfirst into a secret life of sordid pleasures. Then it escalates all the way to the ultimate crime, murdering his friend Basil, the very artist who painted the portrait. And by the end, he's just trapped, totally haunted by the monster the painting has become, because it's what he's become.
And here's the first proof that it's all real.
After he does something truly heartless, breaking that young actress's heart, he gets home, and he notices it. His wish has come true in the most chilling way possible. There, on the face of the perfect painting, is a new little sneer, a touch of cruelty around the mouth. The horror is real. It's working. Okay, so Wilde packs this story with some really powerful symbols that give it all its depth. And to really get the story, you have to know what they represent.
The big one, of course, is the portrait itself. It's not just a painting. It is Dorian's soul made visible. It's his conscience. While his actual face stays like a perfect, pure mask, the painting becomes the true mirror, showing all the disgusting corruption that's festering inside him. He can lock it up in the attic, but he can never, ever escape what it shows him.
Then there's this other key symbol, this poisonous yellow book that Lord Henry gives him. This book basically becomes Dorian's Bible of sin. It's all about a young guy in Paris who dedicates his life to experiencing every possible sensation, good or bad. It gives Dorian the philosophical roadmap for his own twisted lifestyle. It poisons his mind by making vice seem elegant and beautiful.
So finally, let's look at how people reacted to this book and the timeless questions it raises. Because this wasn't just a novel, it was like a bomb that Wilde threw right into the middle of Victorian London. When this book came out, people lost their minds. The reviews were just explosive. Critics were absolutely horrified. The Scots Observer called it filth that was only fit for, and I'm quoting here, outlawed noblemen and perverted telegraph boys, which was a not-so-subtle jab at a recent gay scandal. But then you had others who saw it as a deeply moral story, a powerful warning against the very lifestyle it was showing. Wilde had created a massive controversy.
And here's where it gets really personal. This whole theme of a double life, a beautiful, perfect surface hiding a scandalous secret reality, that wasn't just an idea to Wilde. That was his actual life. As a closeted gay man in a society that would have ruined him, he was living that dual existence every single day, which makes the book so much more powerful, and for him, so much more dangerous.
So, in the shattering climax, Dorian just can't stand to look at his own corrupted soul anymore. He grabs the same knife he used to murder Basil, and he tries to destroy the painting. But here's the thing. You can't destroy your conscience without destroying yourself. The servants break down the door and find the body of a hideous, withered old man on the floor with a knife in his heart, and hanging on the wall above him is the portrait of Dorian Gray, looking as young and beautiful as ever.
And that's the haunting question the novel leaves us with. Wilde's story is a kind of mirror, sure, but it suggests that the most terrifying mirror of all is the one that shows us who we really are. It makes you wonder, right? What if you had a portrait like that, hidden away somewhere? What would it look like?